Hi, welcome to this Treehouse workshop. My name is Zach, and I'm the WordPress teacher here at Treehouse Island. In this workshop, we're going to learn how to build an e-commerce site using WordPress and WooCommerce, the e-commerce plugin from WooThemes. Let's start off looking at the WooCommerce page on woothemes.com. We can see here that it lists itself as an e-commerce toolkit, and we can see some information about it, including admin and reporting, shipping and tax information, products and inventory, payment gateways, and themes and templating. What we'll do to start off with is we're just going to make sure that WordPress is set up properly before we install this plugin. To do that, we're going to start with a fresh install of WordPress, which we can see here, and we're going to go ahead and activate the WordPress 2012 theme. Depending on when you're watching this video, this theme may already be installed, or you may have to configure it yourself. If the 2012 theme is not installed, you'll have to go ahead and do that. To do that, we'll go under Appearance, Themes, Install Themes, and search for 2012. Once we find that theme, we'll go ahead and install it, and then activate it. And then we're going to go ahead and create some basic content here. We're going to make a home page, we're going to make an about page, we're going to make a contact page, and we're going to make a page for our blog. So let's go into Pages. We'll go ahead and trash the sample page that we have here, and we'll add a few new pages for the home, about, contact, and then the blog page. And you can see we're not adding any content here, which is okay because we're not really concerned so much with what's going to go on these pages as much as we are concerned with getting WooCommerce and the e-commerce functionality set up. So we just want to have these pages here, and if this was a real site, we'd go ahead and add more to it later. So once we have our pages set up, we're going to do one more thing, and we're going to bulk edit these. And we're going to turn off comments to all of our pages. So we'll just say do not allow, go ahead and update, and now we're done with our pages section. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a static home page, and we're going to make sure that our blog posts are listed on our blog page. So to do that, we'll go under Settings, click on Reading, and then where it says Front Page Displays, we'll click on a static page, set our front page to be the home page, and then our post page to be blog. So save these changes here. The next setting that we'll do is we'll go ahead and set our permalinks, and we just want to make sure that we have pages that aren't using an ID, and we're just going to go with the very default permalink setting and just having the post name as our URL structure. So we'll go under permalinks, under settings, click on post name, and save those changes. Now that we have that done, the last setting that we're going to configure is just making sure that we have a good menu. When we install WooCommerce, it's going to add a bunch of pages to our menu. So to override this, we're going to go ahead and set up a custom menu in WordPress. And we could do that by going under Appearance, clicking on Menus. We're going to enter our menu name as Main Menu, click Create Menu. And we'll come down and we'll take all of the pages that we created so far, we'll add them to the menu, and then just reorder them here so that we have home, about, blog, and content. We'll go ahead and save that menu, and then the last step is make sure that we have this primary menu set to main menu. So we'll save this, and then let's go ahead and take a look at our site here. We can see that we've got our home page, we've got the about page, a blog page, and we've got our contact page. And if we take a look on our blog page, we could see there it's got that Hello World default blog post, which is fine. We don't need to do anything with that for now. If this was a real site, again, you'd go and you'd edit those blog posts. So now that we have WordPress set up how we need, we're going to go ahead and install the WooCommerce theme. The WooCommerce plugin. And you could do that one of two ways. You could go to woothemes.com/WooCommerce, download it, and FTP in and upload the plugin yourself. Or you could just search directly from the admin area for the WooCommerce plugin and install it from within the admin area. And that's what we're going to do. So let's go back to our admin area. We're going to go under Plugins, Add New, and we're going to search for WooCommerce under our plugins. And it should show up as the first one here, WooCommerce Excelling eCommerce. And we're going to go ahead and install that. Wait for it to install here. And then we'll go ahead and activate the plugin. So once this plugin is activated, it gives us this option up top here to install Woo Pages. And what that is going to do is it's going to go ahead and create a bunch of default pages, like the shop page, the checkout page, the cart page, and all of these other pages, and assign the appropriate WooCommerce templates to them. You don't have to do this, but if you're just starting out with WooCommerce, it's a really good idea, and it takes away a lot of the steps for configuring and setting up WooCommerce if you were to go about it on your own. So let's go ahead and click on this where it says Install WooCommerce Pages, and we can see there, congratulations, it has been installed. Now, before we get into the settings here, I just want to show you what this did. And if we go into Pages, we can see that we now have a bunch of new pages like Cart, Checkout, My Account, etc. But if we go and visit our site, because we set up a new menu, these pages are not going to show up in our menu, and that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come back into WooCommerce, and we're going to click on the settings section and just kind of walk through these tabs here, configuring WooCommerce to kind of work for our demo shop that we're going to do here. So the first thing I'm going to do is on this general settings page, I'm going to change the country to be the United States. And I'm going to specifically check that Florida is the state that we're working from. And this has a couple effects. One of them will come in when you're dealing with taxes and shipping. You know, they want to know the default location where you're shipping from, etc. For some products, it won't matter if you're dealing just with digital downloads, but it does ask you to kind of select a state here, so we'll do that. Next, we're going to come down and we're going to check the currency to be US dollars. And we're going to limit our countries to just be United States. And this could be really helpful because if you don't select specific countries to start with, what's going to happen is that someone from anywhere in the world can go ahead and order your products. And if you're not set up to ship halfway across the world and you don't have your shipping prices and that stuff configured right, that could end up causing you some trouble, because what's going to happen is you're going to have to contact that person and say, I'm sorry, we can't process this order, and you're going to have to refund it. So we want to just limit it from the beginning here to just work with these specific countries. Now we're going to gloss over a few of these things here. We're going to leave checkout kind of the way it is. Security for secured checkout. That, of course, would be helpful if you have an SSL certificate. When you start processing credit cards and stuff, you'll need that. We're going to enable coupons here, and we're going to check this box here just in case they forget to enable the coupon at the cart level. They could still do it at checkout. Under registration, we're going to allow people to register because then they could log in and look at previous orders and stuff like that. And we're also going to check this box here, register using the email address for the username. And this is really helpful because often people will forget what username they signed up with, but they will remember their email address. So it just makes it a little bit easier for them. We're going to check here to prevent the users from accessing the admin area, because by default, when you create a new user, they have some level of access. And we just want to make sure that they do not have that, because there's really no need in this case. Leave the rest blank, and we'll come down and you can see here that there's some styling options that you could change. We're just going to leave it as default. And for store notice, we are going to check this thing to enable the store demo. And the benefit of that is that it's going to display a title across the top of our page that says, hey, this is a demo store. You can't order anything from it. And this is helpful, especially if you're testing online and you don't want anybody to accidentally order. And in general, when you're demoing it, it's just a nice thing to have enabled. And you could see here that you could change what that actually says. We'll leave all the scripts the same. And since we're not really dealing with digital downloads, we'll go ahead and just save these changes as they are. And we'll move into our next tab for the catalog. Default product sorting, we have alphabetically. You can see that we could change it to default, most recent, by price, etc. We'll just kind of leave this as is. We're not really going to be dealing with subcategories or redirecting, so we're going to leave that as it is. And in product data, the product fields, we're not going to be dealing with SKU or the weight for it, or even the dimensions. and we don't really need to show any of this. So the nice thing about removing these is it's going to make our admin area a little bit more simplified, and it's going to make the front end of the site a little bit more simplified. So just removing that is helpful in that regard because it doesn't really relate to what we're trying to sell here. Because we're not really doing that, we don't really need to configure the weight units, but because we're in the good US of A and not on the metric system, we'll go ahead and change that. And then product ratings, we're going to leave those on and just kind of leave that setting as it is, as well as the pricing options. But you could see you can kind of configure here how you want your pricing to appear, as well as you could configure how you want your images to be cropped and what sizes you want those images to appear on the site. So it's a helpful setting to know about, but for now we're just going to go ahead and leave this as is and move on to the pages. Now this is what WooCommerce did when we said install the pages for us. It went ahead and automatically configured a lot of these shop pages here. But one thing we are going to do is rather than have a shop page, we're going to change the base page to be our home page. So as soon as they land on the site, they're going to see all of our products on the home page, and that's just what we want. We'll come down here and we could see that if we wanted to have a different page for, let's say, for example, the cart or for the checkout page, we could do that, but it's going to be set up for us. So we'll just go ahead and click Save Changes and then move on to our inventory. Now, WooCommerce allows you to track inventory on the website. And this has some pros and cons. The pros is that if you're running a purely online business and all of your sales are going to be processed through the website, this is really helpful because it will track how many things you have in inventory. When it gets low, it could set an email reminder. It could put up a notice saying, hey, there's only 2 more of these left, and that's really helpful. Where this is a problem is when you're running a brick and mortar store and you're selling goods online and you're processing orders at checkout in the store as well as online. And what happens is your inventory isn't synced in these two accounts. So that's something to keep in mind when you're setting up the online store. And, it really depends. Chances are, though, if they have a physical store and an online store, they're probably not going to want to track their inventory on the website. And for us, we're just going to go ahead and disable this feature because we're not really worried about it. And we're just going to uncheck stock management. We could uncheck these notifications here, and we'll just go ahead and save that so that it's not something that we have to deal with. Now, taxes are an interesting situation, and there are kind of some rules depending on, or that regulate when you need to charge taxes and when you don't. In general, the rule is that if you have a brick and mortar store in a given state, you have to charge taxes if you're shipping to that state. So if you have your store in Florida and you're shipping to Florida, you need to charge. If you have a store in California and you're shipping from Florida to California, you need to charge taxes. However, if you don't have a brick and mortar store, or you're shipping to a state where you don't have a brick and mortar store, in general, you don't have to charge taxes for your product. Now, that's in general. If you're setting this up for a real store, you're going to want to follow through and do some research for your specific business to find out if taxes are something you're going to have to deal with. But for our example site here, we're not going to deal with taxes. So we can update this here to, we're going to uncheck enable taxes and we're going to uncheck display taxes and just go ahead and save these changes. Shipping, we have another couple options here, and you can see that by default, we have a flat rate shipping, international delivery, free shipping, local delivery, and local pickup. And whatever is checked on the right here, that means that that is available. So what we want to do here is we're going to just set up a flat rate for shipping, charge a flat rate, and then remove the other features. So if we look at this, the shipping options here, this menu at the top, we're going to come into free shipping, and we're going to uncheck that, save the changes, then come back over to our flat rate and go ahead and enable this. And we're just going to say that it costs $5 to ship all of our products. Now that number may or may not work for you, but just in our example store, that's what we're going to use here. We're also going to tack on a shipping and handling fee, and we'll set that to $2.50 and add that in. And we could do that from the menu here, and you may decide that you want to charge that. You may decide that you don't want to, and you just want to incorporate it into the into the actual shipping price. But we're going to come down here and we're going to say default handling fee. We're going to set that to $2.50. You can see that we have other options here on, if we have a minimum fee that we want them to hit. We have some other options here. And then if we come down, we could begin to set different shipping costs for different scenarios. And there's one plugin in particular that is helpful in this regard, and it's called the Table Rate Shipping plugin for WooThemes. And if you have a complex shipping structure, this can be really helpful because what it'll do is let you begin setting custom settings. So if something weighs this much, then charge this much. Or if they have 3 products, you want to charge X, but if they have 5 products, you want to charge this. And once they hit 10 products, you want to charge this for shipping. So if your shipping requirements are very specific, I definitely recommend checking out this table shipping plugin. It does cost. It's going to be $100 to add this to your site. But if advanced shipping options is something you need, then that's going to be a cost you're going to have to incur. So let's come back into our site here. We will save our changes for shipping as we have it, and we'll move into our payment gateways. Now, payment gateways are the options that you have to have people check out and pay for things on your site. And you can see by default we have direct bank transfer, check payment, PayPal, cash on delivery, and credit card. We're going to go ahead and just use PayPal for this project here. So we'll come in and we'll disable the bank transfer one, save these changes, and we'll disable the check payment. And we'll come into PayPal and we're going to configure this here. Now, when we're testing our site, we're going to want to enable what's called the PayPal Sandbox. And what the PayPal Sandbox is it's a testing or development setup for PayPal. And what it'll let you do is it'll let you set up a business email that we could enter into here as our business email, and it'll give you a test user or customer email. And so when we're setting up the products and we're testing the checkout process, we could use this sandbox feature in order to test it so that no real transactions have to go through. So that's what we're going to do here. And you can see the link. It says sign up here for a developer account. So let's take a moment here and walk through this process for setting up a PayPal sandbox. We'll go ahead and click sign up now. I'm just going to use myself here. Set our security question, name your first school, Treehouse Island, because that's where I learn everything. We don't really need any communications. We're going to go ahead, agree, set up. It's sending us login information to our email address, so we're going to go ahead, open that up, and activate our account. All right, so now that we've successfully activated our account, we can go ahead and log in with our email address and our password that we set up. And we're going to have to do 2 things here. We're going to have to create a test account for the person who's running the store, the business owner, the seller, and we're going to have to create a test account for the buyer, the person who's buying the product. So we'll go ahead and we'll set up the seller's one first, and then we'll set up one for the buyer. All right? So we'll come in and click create a pre-configured account. We'll go ahead and make sure that we're checking this to be the seller, and we're going to say test seller. And we're going to have their login email be seller@Team Treehouse. And then we'll go ahead and enter in a dummy password that's easy for us to remember. You don't have to worry about the password too much because this is a developer site. There's no real money in here. So we're just going to set something that's easy for us to remember. We'll give them a basic balance account of $1,000, and we'll go ahead and create this account. Okay, so now that this account is created, this is going to be the account for our seller, and this is what we're going to enter in to the WooCommerce configuration page. So we'll copy this, and we'll come back into our payment gateways, go into PayPal, and we'll go ahead and paste in this email address into the PayPal email and click Save Changes. So now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and create the account for the buyer on the site. So we'll come back to our home page here. We'll click on Create a Pre-configured Account, and we'll make sure that this is a buyer, and we're going to call them Test Buyer, and then we'll set their email address to buyer. Again, put in this easy password that we can remember, give them some money to spend, and we'll go ahead and click Create Account here again. All right, so we now have both of our accounts set up, and we're not going to do anything with this seller account until we get to the checkout process. So we'll just leave this here and we'll come back to it when we need it. So if we hop back into our WooCommerce settings and we click on our payment gateway page, we could see that the only one that's enabled here is PayPal. So we'll go ahead, set that to our default one, save changes, and we'll move on to the Emails tab. This Emails tab is an important one, and it's often missed. And what happens when you don't enter in the correct emails to this is that they're all going to go to the main admin of the site. So if you're building this site for another person, which is typical, and you don't configure these emails, then you're going to start getting all these emails about orders and processing and questions and things like that. So we're going to come into this Emails tab, and for this purpose, we're going to leave it all as is. However, this would be where you'd set store admin or some other email address, whoever the person is that's going to be managing the order process. But just for our demo, we'll just leave it just to my email address here. And we're going to come down to this email template area. And if we click here to preview your email template, you can see this is what the email will look like that goes out to the person who received the order. And you can see we have some options here. We can go ahead and begin changing and configuring how we want this email to look like. We could change some of the colors. We could change the background color here and see those changes reflected. So you could kind of skin it to work for your site, as well as if you wanted to add a header image. And then if you want to get more advanced, you could even come into the actual template files and you could begin editing the HTML structure behind those. But for most people, just kind of configuring the colors of the email is enough. So we'll go ahead, save these changes, and we'll move on to integration. Now, integration gives us a few options here. We could integrate directly with Google Analytics. We could integrate with Share This, and we could integrate with a feature called Share Your Cart, which lets you share what is in your cart. The benefit of using Google Analytics here is that we have some options to add some special tracking code to your thank you page and to the cart pages. And where that's helpful is if you want to track the conversion process for your checkout, for people buying stuff on your site, it's really helpful to know how many people get to our cart and then don't complete the process, how many people get to the checkout process and then don't get to the thank you page. So having these special things configured on your site could be really helpful if you are going to take those extra steps and track this process and try to improve that conversion rate for your site. So we'll just leave this blank for now because we're just testing and developing, but it is good to know about. And that pretty much wraps it up for everything that we need to just get WooCommerce installed and configured correctly. So at this point, we now have WordPress set up how we want. We now have WooCommerce set up how we want. And we can begin getting into the point of adding products, configuring products, and then looking at the checkout process. So before we jump there, I want to show one additional feature, which is coupons. And if we come into coupons and go to add a coupon, we're going to add one called 10%. And whatever title you enter in here, that's what people are going to paste in to get this discount. So, general practice is to have these coupons be all uppercase, and that's what we're going to do here. And this discount, we're going to set a 10% discount to everything in your cart. And you could see that we could do a product discount, a cart discount of an X process, and we could do some very specific stuff like only give this to specific products or only specific categories of products, and we could even set it to only work for certain customers. So we could tie it to an email and say, hey, you have to log in to get this special price. And that's really helpful if you've built up a group of customers around your site and you want to begin offering them some special features. And then, of course, we can limit the usage so they can only use it once or twice and set an expiration date for it. We're just going to leave this as is, and anybody that has a 10% coupon will go ahead and let them do that to get 10% off of the total cart cost. So now that we have our coupon set up, let's go into the products section here, which WooCommerce also adds, and we can see we've got the option to add products, set categories and tags, shipping classes for certain types of products, and then attributes. Now, we're not really going to look at categories, tags, and shipping classes, but we are going to look at attributes. What attributes are for products are a set of extra terms or extra features or extra options that you have for a product. So for example, if we're selling a shirt, which we're going to add to our site, some common attributes might be sizes or colors, and something similar to that. And then within that, for sizes, you'd have small, medium, extra large. And for colors, you'd have white, black, green, whatever your different options are. So that's what attributes are. And it's important to kind of know that process of how to set them up. So we're going to look at adding a sizes attribute that we'll use for posting up a t-shirt to our site. So let's go ahead and enter in here sizes. And we're going to set the type to be select, and that'll give us a drop down where they could select from small, medium, large, extra large, as opposed to text, which would mean that they have to type in exactly what that feature is. For example, if you had a badge and that special badge had their name on it, you could have them type their name in to that. So we'll go ahead, add attribute. So now that we have our sizes attribute set up, we're going to come in and we're going to configure the terms within that. So we'll click on configure terms. And then here's where we're going to go ahead and add in our small, medium, large, and extra large. So now we can see that we have these features as options within our main sizes attribute. So if we come back out to attributes, we could see that under sizes, we have these terms small, medium, large, and extra large. And again, that's what people are going to be able to pick from later on. So now that we have that set up, we can go in and we could add our first product. So we're going to come in and we're going to add our first product and we're going to call it pink shirt. And let's look here for a moment at what options we have on this page, because WooCommerce adds a few extra custom fields here. We can see we have our main description area, and what this is going to do is it's going to give us an option to put in a long description for our product. And when we look at the product page later, we'll see kind of where that fits in. If we come down, we can see that we have this product data here with a bunch of different tabs. And this is going to be where we set a lot of the custom settings for the specific product. We have some custom fields here that WooCommerce will automatically populate. And then we have our product short description. And this is what appears closer up to the add to cart button. And typically people will get these confused and they'll put in their short description up in the main content area. And then leave this blank. So really we want our longer description up here and then our shorter one down below. The other one is feature image. We're going to need this to show up as the feature image for our product. So that's just a quick overview. Let's look in a bit more detail in adding our shirt in here. We're just going to go pull up some Ipsum here as our description. We'll grab a good chunk of that. Come back in, paste that in, break it up a little bit, and this will serve as our long description. Again, we'll show where that goes. And then we'll come down and we'll put in our short description, which should only be a sentence or two here. And again, that will appear up closer to the add to cart button. So now that we have that set, let's look at this product data area here. And we can see that we've got a simple product, group product, external affiliate product, and a variable product. And if we want to use attributes for our product like sizes, we're going to have to check variable product. So we have that checked. We're going to come under attributes, and this is where we'll go ahead and we could add an attribute sizes. So we'll select the attribute that we want, click add, and we want to make this visible on the product page, and we want to use this for variations. We're going to click select all to give us all the small, medium, large options, and we'll go ahead and let's just quickly save this as a draft so that we save our settings there. We can see that if we click back into attributes, that's good. We have our sizes. If we click show that, we have all that configured correctly. The next step that we have to do is click on variations. And what this will do is let us set prices to those specific sizes. So we're going to bulk edit prices. We're going to click add variations here. And what we want to do is have these apply to all of our sizes at once. We could individually say that we have a different price and a different quantity and a sale for different size products, but we're just going to have this apply to all of them, and we're going to set our price here as $20. And we'll go ahead and save this draft again to make sure that our changes are saved. If we come back into variations, we could see that we have those sizes here, and that's set to $20. So this is a little unintuitive. If you're first setting up working with products that have attributes, it's not always clear how to go about doing that. So this is something that's helpful to know when you're working on adding products with attributes. So let's go ahead and publish this product, and let's go to our site now and see how this looks. If we come over and we visit our site, we can see that on our homepage we have all of our products, and pink shirt is listed here. Now this styling isn't perfect, but because we're just using the default 2012 theme, there isn't a whole lot of styling specifically set for these products, and you can go ahead and change that later using CSS. We're going to click through the product, and one thing we'll notice is that there's no images. We'll go back and we'll edit that in a moment here, but we could see that we have our sizes. We could select medium, and then we have the option to add it to the cart. And if we click add to cart, we could check out our cart, and we could see, yep, we've got our product there, and the size that we've selected it is medium. So that's perfect and just the way we want it to work. Now, let's come in and look at how images work. The first thing we'll do is set a featured image. And we're going to go ahead. We have the front image here of Allison rocking this pink t-shirt, which is great. And we're going to go ahead and click set this as our featured image, save all the changes, and update it. And then if we go to view this product, we could see, great, we now have an image there. Now, what about if we want multiple images to show up on our site? In order to do that, there's no field here that says multiple images. But what WooCommerce will do is it will recognize if you have multiple images uploaded for this specific page or post. In our case, it's actually a product. So all we actually have to do is upload those images and save these changes. And because WordPress can remember every image that you upload for a given page or post, it's stored in its memory there, and then WooCommerce is going to pull those out and display them on the product page. So if we close out of there and we click update, and we come back to our product page and refresh it, we can now see that these other images appear below. All right? So again, not super intuitive there, but if you want extra images to show up, all you have to do is upload them, and once they're uploaded, they'll show. What that means is that if you no longer want to have one of these options showing, you'll have to come in and actually delete that image so that it no longer appears there. Could update the product, and when we refresh the page, we could see, okay, we no longer have that back view. So that is the basic process for setting up a product that has variables, and we've looked at that. The process for setting up just a simple product is a little bit simpler, as you can imagine. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to click on Add Product, and we're going to call this one Badge Poster. We'll leave this description, this long description, blank for this particular product. And the reason we're going to do that is just to show what these differences look like when you have a long description and when you don't have one. So that's our reason for doing that. We're going to come down and we're going to leave this as a simple product. We're going to enter in our price, but then let's put in a sale price just so we could see how that works. And we could schedule our sales to either start on a certain date, start in a future or past date, and run to a certain date. And we're just going to set this to run through the end of December 2012, and we'll just leave that as is. You could see we have options for taxable, inventory, shipping, related products, as well as attributes, which we're not using, so we don't really have to worry about any of that. We do, however, need a short description, so I'm just going to paste in some lorem ipsum here again. And we'll go ahead and set our feature image here, and we've got a nice graphic here to use for that. We'll go ahead and save this as our feature image, save all the changes, close this out. And let's go ahead and publish this product and go back to our store homepage. So if we come in to visit site, we can see that we now have two products. We have our badge poster with this cool little sale icon, and we could, of course, configure that and change that CSS if we wanted to. And we have our shirt. And you'll notice that underneath here it says add to cart for the poster, but for the pink shirt it says select options. The reason is because you need to select one of the shirt sizes in order to add it to the cart, whereas the poster, it only comes in one size, so we could just add that directly. Now, if we look at the actual page for this poster, we scroll down, we can see that we have reviews options here, but nothing else. However, if we click on the pink shirt and come down, we can see we have this long description that appears. We have additional information that shows us what sizes are available, as well as the reviews tab. So that's what I meant by the difference between having a long description show up and not having it show up if you leave that blank. And either way, this is our short description here. So there we have it. We've added two basic products. We've added one that's a little bit more complex and has variations and options there. And we've added a simple product that doesn't have any. It's just one product, one picture, ready to go. So now let's look at this checkout process and see what that looks like and what options that gives us. So to do that, I'm going to open up a fresh window here because I don't want to purchase the product as a logged in user. So I'll come here and I'll click Add to Cart, View the Cart, and we can see we have this apply coupon here. So let's go ahead and add in our 10% coupon, and we can see, hey, that works. We've got this discount. We can see the shipping is set to the flat rate just as we want it to, and we can proceed to our checkout. You can see we have options to register. If we have our coupon and we haven't entered it yet, we can enter that. But let's just go ahead and put in our billing information here. Address is going to be 1 Main Street. I'll have that in Northwest DC. Put in zip code here. Now for email address, we want to use the email address that we originally set up as the buyer in our PayPal sandbox. So to get that email address, we'll have to go back into our PayPal sandbox and go ahead and find that email address that we had for that buyer user. So we'll jump back. We had left this PayPal sandbox window open here. And we could see, all right, there's our seller and here's our buyer. So let's copy this email address. And this is what we're going to paste into our email address for the buyer. So we'll do that. We'll give it a little 555 action here. We could see our order and we could see that PayPal is our payment option. And notice again, this demo store for testing purposes is that demo sign that we had show up. Go ahead and click place order. And it'll give you a message saying, hey, you need to log into your PayPal sandbox in order to do this. So we'll click log into our PayPal sandbox, and we're going to log in with the email address that we originally used to set up the PayPal sandbox. Now, once we're logged in, we can come back and place that order again. So we'll go ahead, looks like all the fields have been saved. We'll go ahead and click place order. And because we're logged into the PayPal sandbox, we could see that we have the option to purchase the product here, and we have this email address that we set up as the test user already in there. We'll put in our password, click login. We'll agree because this is just sort of a demo account here. We'll move through that screen, and then we'll click Pay Now. So we've paid for our product. This is all great. And then we're going to click Return to the Test Seller's Test Store. Now, this information here, of course, if you had your own PayPal account for your store, you'd configure that to look and say what you want to as it relates to your business. But once we click on that link, we're going to come back and we see this page saying Order Received. And this is great because it gives us all the information we need about our product, about the customer details, and this will also be emailed to the user who just purchased this product. So we've seen what the checkout process looks like for a user, for a customer. We can close this then and come back into our site and go to our main dashboard. Now this is what our dashboard looks like by default, but we're going to come in here and we're going to change some of our screen options. If we scroll down, WooCommerce has added a few homepage widgets of its own, and we're just going to drag these up to where we could better see and use them. So we're going to take the recent orders, and let's just put this up at the top right. And what this will do is show us, hey, we just had an order that was purchased and it's pending today. We're going to drag this monthly sales widget up. Store owners love to see this stuff, so you definitely want to log in and configure their screen options so that they could see this stuff at the top of their site. And then reviews, if anybody has logged in and created a review, we could see those there. So this order is pending. And if we click on this order, we'll be taken to the specific details for that order, and we could see a lot of information here. Now, I want to show you that we could get to that from our dashboard, but under WooCommerce in the admin area, there's also a link for orders, and that will also show us the same information here. Now, if we click into the order, the most important thing here is going to be the order status. It's pending at this moment, but we can change it to processing, or when it's finally completed, or if it's canceled, etc. This will be helpful for us to keep track of what stage we're at. So let's say that this payment went through and we've shipped the product. We could click that it's been completed, save the order. And now if we come back to view our orders, we could see that that status has been changed. And if we come back to our dashboard, we could see that that order has been completed and that our monthly sales are now reflected at $21, which is what we got from that shirt. So this is what it looks like from the user, from the site owner's perspective to sell products, and what it looks like when a product is sold on their site. They can come in and check what orders are available. They can come in and on that homepage, they can see how much money they've made today, etc. So you're going to want to familiarize whoever is working with the site on how to do that and where they could find out that information. So that's basically it, folks. What we've done is we've shown how to do a simple configuration in WordPress. We've shown how to install WooCommerce. We've showed how to configure WooCommerce, add a few products, and complete the testing process. Now, when your site is ready to go live, it's important that you go back into WooCommerce and you disable that sandbox feature and you put in your real PayPal information or other information that you're using to sell the products. Even when that happens and you launch the site live, it's still a good idea to do a test purchase, even if you do have to pay for it. Just make sure that that's refunded, or if you're buying it from yourself, just so that you can double check that all goes through correctly. Now, if you're doing this and you want to learn more about it, there's a couple things that you should check out. And the first one is the documentation for Woo Themes, for WooCommerce, and that can be found at wcdocs.woothemes.com. And this will give you information on administering the site, on extensions that are possible, as well as the coding. And some basic tutorials are going to be really helpful for you if you're using your own themes or want to get some more details on that. If we go to woothemes.com, we can see that there's this WooCommerce option. You're also going to want to probably check out extensions. For example, there's a really helpful one if you're using Stripe as one of your payment gateways. It's a great payment gateway out there for, let's check payment gateways here, for processing credit cards. And we can go ahead and search for payment gateways. So Stripe is one extension that could be really helpful if you want to process credit cards in a really affordable way. We can see that there are other options for types of extensions that you might find helpful. And it's a good idea to look through these just so you see what options are available to you. But also if you're looking for something specific and you start searching WooCommerce plus X, whatever feature it is, you'll probably be directed here to this extensions page. The other one that you're going to want to check out are themes. We use the basic 2012 WordPress theme, but if you want something that's specifically built for WooCommerce and for running an online store, under WooCommerce we could see themes, And then we have a bunch of options ranging from their basic canvas, more framework, flexible theme to some more style just for selling products. Like we could see this one here is really clean and nice for selling products. And, that's a great looking theme there that you could check out. You also have the option to use their community forums, which are actually run through WordPress.org. So all plugins on WordPress.org have the option to have plugin support with it. So if you have specific questions that you want to get the answers to from the folks at WooCommerce, you could do that as well. Even emailing them directly, they're a really great team over there and very responsive. So if you have a question that you can't really find the answer to, you can contact them directly, and they should be able to help direct you to an answer. So that's basically it for us here at this workshop. Again, I'm Zach, and the WordPress teacher here at Treehouse Island, and I thank you for checking out this workshop. And I hope that you're able to go out and set up your e-commerce sites with ease now using WordPress and WooCommerce. And if you want to learn more about WordPress in general, just check out the videos that we have available in our library at Treehouse Island. All right, everyone, until next time.